understanding of human nature? What's your thought process?
It took me a long time to sort of actually, one, understand it, and then two, be able to be okay with it. Because when I came into the business, like I came in eyes wide open because Andy pulled back the curtain and said, this is what's possible, right? All he had to show me was one daily blast where he made like 100 grand in a month. And I'm like, bro, okay. I'm in, right? As long as we ain't selling crack to kids, Andy, like, okay. Right. And so like that was it. So I came in eyes wide open and I'm like, okay, he said do this, I'm doing it 2 times. Right. And for me, the hardest part was like I wanted it more for people than they ever wanted it for themselves. And so I came in like dragging people, kicking and screaming, and then wondering why they weren't doing it, and then putting it back on myself. But listen, if you're going to be, right, if you're going to take credit and be responsible for people's success, you also then have to, on the other side of that scale, hold yourself responsible for their failure. You can't do either, right? And this is where when you lose, I coached a bad game, right? And people are gonna people, right? And so when they do exactly what we expected them to do, you can't hold yourself responsible, and you also can't, right? You can't like just mentally try to envision like pushing a wet noodle. Can you push a wet noodle? No, it'll like roll up and crumble. Can you pull a wet noodle? It'll break. No. Listen, most people in life are wet noodles.
Well, Noah, the thing I appreciate about you, the honesty, I love what you said. It took me a while to understand it, and it took me a while to be okay with it. We've got about 2 months before we get into social media, but I love your thinking. I wish the whole meeting was on this. Where did you come to this reality that this is the game we're playing? You know, this is the game, and the rules, and you have to learn to like it, or it's not going to work. Talk about that, Noah.
I think so. Like there's two sort of like analogies that I use with that. One I stole from Ian. One I stole from Keith Otto. Right. The one from Ian said, "Listen, 99% of your time in this business is going to be charity. 1% is going to make you stone cold wealthy. You just don't know what that 1% is, right? And so you have to approach everyone like they're your next RVP. And like I said earlier, you got to also know in the back of your mind they probably already quit, right? And then the thing that I stole from Keith was, listen, if you're playing with a deck of cards, right? Like if you unfold a new deck, usually like if you're not even looking, like if you pulled the first card out, what's it going to be? It's a joker, right? Or it's that stupid rule card, one of the two, right? And if you pull it again, you probably get another joker. You get the other one, right? If you keep pulling out of 52 cards, guess what's in that deck?
Aces.
4 of them, coach. 4 of them. But along the way, you don't know which one you're going to get. But coach, can you take a 4 of hearts and make it an ace of spades?
Mm-mm.
Sure the hell can't, right? But you know what that 4 of hearts can do? It can lead you to the ace of spades because it might be next. You never know, right?
Well, that's the thing we have you on today. You know, we've been social media is truly fishing with a big net. You know all this.
Mm-hmm.
And, Tony, I'll let you ask the questions to help us guide us through. And if you'd like to make comments on what you learned through social media first, though, Noah, and how you had to become acquainted with it. You're a helicopter pilot. This is all new to you.
Yeah.
How did you acclimate yourself to it, and how did you approach it?
So for me, right, this was a foreign world, right? Like coming from a special operations background, military, coming into the business, Andy said, look, like where did you come from in terms of the business? Like how in the hell did you even get here? I said, I saw your post. He goes, exactly. I was like, oh, okay. Right? Because that's what people like, because people are going to push back and be like, oh, I don't do social media. I'm like, great, right? Primerica's been around way before social media. It's a tool. It's not the tool, right?
indefinite versus definite article. We can go back to grammar school, right? But like, it's just a tool. But all it is a way, to use your words, coach, right? You're casting a big net. But guys, think about this. Like, would you rather walk around Walmart, bump into somebody, and then ask them, hey, you look sharp, and like roll down that thing just to have them tell you, hey, no thanks, like get away from me? Or would you rather put something out on social media and then think about it like this? Anybody that comments and says, hey, interested, hey, can I get some more info? Can I get X, Y, whatever? Are they coming to you already open to what you're showing them? If they commented and wanted some more info, they're already open to it.
Well, you came in and hit the ground running with, you had traction with it. You were the one, like a year and a half to 300,000, and most of that part-time.
Yep.
People don't even talk about, you were mostly part-time until you got out of the military. How come you excelled and maybe some others don't in that same time period?
Interesting question, because I mean, in that first year in the business, I think we recruited about 900 people in total in that first year. And I mean, we've had a couple of watch earners that have come out of that, multiple senior regionals, had an RVP come out of that along the way. And like a lot of that was replacement. And to be honest, Bill, I don't know, right? I'm a hyper competitive person. I'm very, very red. If you've ever done like one of the color personality charts, right? Red, hyper competitive, super. So what you need to do is you need to go find that other person that can match that red, like driven sort of competitive energy, and run with that person, right? And help build with them. And honestly, I'm talking to you guys as much as I'm talking to myself right now, because we're kind of in this like weird sort of like rebuild period right now. Right. So listen, don't think that it can't happen to you. Like Coach, before you got on, we were just talking about, Hector saying like, you haven't really been around until your first, SNSD quits. Right. And so like, guys, it's going to happen. Right. Your people are going to give replacement when they get promoted, and that replacement is going to be a dud. Right. You thought they were great. Right. You thought it was a stud. You got a dud. Right. And then like, who knows what else is going to happen. But I looked at it when I saw it. I came into this business just to get the licenses, right? I thought I was going to go to work for Chase. A buddy of mine works over there. He's not even in the business. He just like manages people. He's like, dude, you need to come work with me. But he's making like 120 with maybe a bonus. And I'm like, bro, I made that in like 10 months part-time. What the hell are you talking about? I'm like, I'm not coming to work for you. Right? Oh, by the way, you have a job and you're still asking another grown man if you can have time off. I ain't about that life anymore. I did that for 25 years. I'm out. Right? I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And so like, for me, it was the time freedom, like primarily, but then also like having the ability to create that financial freedom. Like just looking at like the cash flow quadrant, right? Like I always come back to that, right? It's like, do you want to be an employee or do you want to be a business owner? No one that I've ever asked that question to has responded and said, I want to be an employee. So you give them the opportunity to build a business, right? Build that time freedom. It comes in the way of overrides. And I know we're getting like away from like the social media stuff, guys, but it all matters, right? And it all comes back to something we just talked about last night was, look, a 50K base is 1 week. You just got to go find the right 10 people, right? Go through your deck of 52. There's 4 aces, 4 kings, a couple of queens. You might get some jokers along the way, but listen, like that's what it's going to look like. But think about that. And then if you can teach those 10 to get 10, RVP factory before you know it, right? But that's what it's all about. And I think like, and listen, I've been doing this for 3 years. I'm still a baby in the business when it comes to like how long some of you guys have been doing this. But like when we talked about that last night on the meeting, I had that same sort of like aha moment that I had when I went to my first trip at the Diplomat, and somebody was on stage, and I can't remember who it was, but we were talking about AUM, right? And he's like, look, all it takes to get $1 million in assets under management is enough people with just about 25 grand each. And I was like, wait a minute, 10 people with 25 grand is $250,000. It's like, yo, I only need 40 clients with 25,000 each, and I've got $1 million in AUM. I can do that. So like immediately left the diplomat, and I said within the next 12 months, I will have a minimum of $1 million AUM, because I can find 40 clients that got 25 grand laying around in old 401ks or whatever. And we're almost at 3 million personal AUM right now. But it like the mindset of thinking, well, heck, man, if I just had 10 part-timers that were doing about one sale a week, which, right, this goes back to expectation management, right? Because the 10 that you have right now, think about it. The 10 people you have right now, have they been doing one sale a week?
Mm-hmm.
Mine haven't. They've been around, they lost passion, right? They unplugged for some reason, right? This and this, they go together. This is you and your business. This is my meeting. If you ain't plugging in and you're not coming to the next event and you're not, right? I don't know about you guys. Like if I don't plug this thing in, I got maybe 2 days. That's your people. That's your people, right? And so you got to be constantly loving on your people, and you got to have that touch point before they hit that like point of no return in that cliff and they fall off. About every couple of days, you got to be messaging somebody, talking to somebody, doing something, right? So like personally, I use what's called Reach. It's an app, so Reach, right? So you can make different groups of people, go in, create a text message and send, and then just let your phone do the work, right? Because now that thing in about 5 minutes, because I can send to different groups, right? Now that thing is sending messages to however many people I want it to, right? I've got, a group of licensed agents. I've got people that are new in the business, because you can't send the same message to everybody. The same thing as somebody's been around 3 years, right? And so but you got to talk to people, right? And if you can see them in your recruit tracker, you need to treat them as if they're direct to you. Is what most people thinking that someone's going to do something because you showed them how to do it. They're not going to do it. And I had this same conversation with my I don't want to call them big leaders, but the dedicated ones this morning. I said, listen, right? And one of them specifically, I said, listen, when did you make 10 grand in the business? And she said, my first month. And I said, why? She said, because I was doing it. I'm like, I know, because you were doing it. You were doing exactly what I told you to do. You were so new, you didn't have time to think about it. You didn't question it. I called the play, you ran the play. That was it. And you did it.
Some of the mistakes you made in the early days that we should avoid using social media to build your business, that aspect to build your business?
So the biggest mistake that I see people make is posting about this business as if they are in like Scentsy or Tupperware or some god-awful thing like that. Now, don't get me wrong, Tupperware is great, right? Scentsy is great, makes the house smell nice. But if you're posting every 6 hours about life insurance this, investments that, this, and listen, you are burning down your internal hot and warm market. People are going to tune you out, period, right? If you guys go look at my personal page right now, right, you will find almost zero about the business specifically when it comes to I'm not out there posting, a Vivint promo or it doesn't happen, because when you think about social media, what do your people want to see within your market, right? They want to see your family, they want to see your kids, they want to see your grandkids, they want to see life success, right? That's what people respond to. And if you doubt me, go to your personal page right now and go find me the thing that had the most traction. It got the most comments, it got the most likes, it got the most reactions, right? And to prove it to you, I'll pull up my social media right now. Right? I'll pull up my Facebook. And the thing I kind of want you guys to see really fast is, like, I practice what I preach, right? So like, I'm never going to tell you to do something that I'm not doing. So like, go look at me, right? There's me. Look at them, beautiful, beautiful people, right? And so like, Melissa got me this. She gave it to me early. This was pretty cool, right? So I mean, if any of you guys know who Bo Schembechler is, right? Longtime Michigan coach, legendary, like the team. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I even put the YouTube here just so you can go click on it, right? But she gave me that, right? This was, so from the business, right? Very, very specific, targeted, right? I mean, we got freaking Keith Otto out here, and he shared it and he tagged me. So I allowed that to go to my page. So we'll talk about some privacy settings here in a second, right? My old unit, we lost an aircraft, right? A week ago, we had aircraft went down, 4 people died. Everybody that was on the helicopter died, all 4 crew, right? And so that's a personal thing to me, right? My son's senior pictures are up. Are you guys seeing anything about Primerica yet, other than that one thing with Keith? Right? Look, it's 165 reactions, 40 some odd comments. I changed my cover photo the other day, right? 100 and some odd people. I hadn't even seen that, right? But I want you guys to notice something, right? Here, really quick. Charlie Kirk stuff going on, right? I mean, I passed my 65 last week, right? So there's a business thing, right? If you wanted to see that. Now, again, but very, very limited. But look at this. 200 and some odd, almost 200 comments. Whenever you're making a post on social media, right, the algorithm always matters, right? Now, what do I mean by that? Anytime someone comments on a post, you should always go to that post and reply. Always, right? So Facebook algorithm is based on what it considers genuine connections, right? So a comment, a reply, like the next level of that is a reply to the reply. Right, so anything that's got like multiple replies is something that's gonna boom. So anytime you're commenting, you should almost always be asking a question, because that question mark is gonna key someone in to respond. Right now, I know his realtor stuff is going well. I see his stuff all the time. Right, and he's a buddy of mine. He's a retired sergeant major. You think I care? No, I'm asking the question because I know he's going to use that as a way to not only self promote, right, but then get that thing going. Because I asked the question, right? Now, this applies on anything that you do with the business, right? So like if this were some sort of like opportunity post or like whatever you have, right? In terms of like running the play, whatever your coach has, run the play, right? So I don't want to give you an exact example of that because like everybody's different. So put that out there, right? But something that I was talking about too is it should never be to where like if somebody makes a post and tags you, that it goes directly to your page, right? You should have to go review that and approve it if you want it to. But here's the thing that happens, right? You can still get all of the notifications from that, right? Like you can see all that stuff constantly. And that's how you make sure that your personal page isn't getting overwhelmed by somebody making a post for you, sharing a post for you, right? Because that's when it starts to look real spammy, and that's when it doesn't work. So it's got to be clean, right? So family, business, in terms of like your social media. Like if you just gotta post something about the business, right? Family, business, and it should not be like every day in terms of like something for the business. Now I will say, if you're sharing something every day or you're posting something every day and it's not getting like good feedback or it's not getting like positive reaction and engagement, take it down, right? Take it down because it's just clutter, right? It's just clutter. It's white noise. People start tuning you out, right? Yeah, Jason, great nugget right there. I was actually going to jump in on that. Anytime someone tags you in something or makes a post for you or shares something for you, save that thing, right? Save it. Put it in a folder, that way you can go back and check on it. Also, make sure you have notifications turned on, because sometimes I've had people tag me and stuff and notifications were not on. So like there's stuff happening in there and I didn't see it. And so that's a huge nugget. Also, right, one thing that I've found recently is that we always promote like somebody sharing a post, right? But we've all seen like what a shared post looks like. And it just sort of looks like this weird sort of truncated version of what's there. You don't actually really get to see it. And so something that I've started doing and teaching is you can use at highlight and then at followers. And so something to think about though is you're like Facebook limits you on how many times you can do that. You can only do that 3 times a week. Also, like if I went to coach's Facebook page and I hit at followers on something that he had posted, my people would get notified to go look at his page, right? So instead of sharing, right, instead of asking someone to share for you, the better way that I have found recently is like if I wanted to get into Bill's market, right? Like, hey, Bill, listen, I know you have a ton of people that would benefit from what I do. Would you do me a favor? Would you just go to like the post that I have up right now? Plus, like, how long does it take to do that? 12 seconds, right? It's not this whole share and like making sure it happened correctly or whatever, right? So that is a huge nugget. Now you can do it for yourself too, but you got to remember if you're doing it on your page, your people are seeing something that they may or may not have already seen, right? So remember, you always want to sort of like think about not burning out your like hot and warm market, right? So that's why if you've made a post in the past and you've been in business for years, everybody that you know is like, they know what you're doing, right? So that's where getting someone else from a new market, right? It's essentially the next best thing aside from recruiting them directly, right? Because you're tapping into their market. That's exactly what it looks like, right?
Noah, I discovered that a lot of people just have other people post, but they never get into their top 6 or, the sushi 6 or the key 3 people and they get no premium and they get maybe some recruits, but they're wrong market. How do you handle all that? And most people think all you do is have people post and you just do nothing of that. But I remember Andy saying you got to get into their top 6 people and work through that market individually. Talk about that.
Oh, for sure. So I mean, let's pretend that I just recruited Tony, right? So I just recruited Tony. We made her Facebook post to get that out there. That is just that like wide net to get the recruiting side going for her. When it comes to us setting some like actual client appointments and kitchen table appointments for field training, I said, not field selling, field training, right? Field training, that's when we are on that like one-on-one orientation, after her interview's over. That's when we're really like diving into that list and getting those appointments going. Because now I'm going to show her or him how to set that appointment, right, on the calendar. I'm going to incentivize them to set some more, and I'm going to set the first appointment for them in terms of if they're married, that first appointment needs to be with their spouse, period, right? That is the most important person that we can ever set that appointment with for that new agent. Because if the most important person in their world never sees what they're doing quickly, do you think that you really have a shot at keeping that person around? No, there's no way in hell, because if you go a week or 2 weeks before they've ever seen what it looks like, now they're on some Zoom meetings, they're doing whatever. They're like, that person's walking around going, why are you sitting around talking to these weirdos? Because they don't, right? That's what they're saying, but because they don't know. And so if you never showed that like key person value, you got a snowball's chance, guys. It's not happening. Because the most important thing that you can ever do, right, whether somebody stays or whatever, right, set that first appointment with their spouse and show value. Now look, not everybody's going to move forward, and that's okay. But if you have a recruit to sell mindset, you're doing it wrong. You're recruiting to build, period, right? You're recruiting to build. And so the social media side of things is to help that person's market be aware of what they're doing, right? And now that social media post is up, now we're setting some appointments for field training, right? And you got to make sure that those people, right, when it comes to the premium side of things, Bill, think about this. Most people, when they come into the business, when they're calling somebody, well, one, they don't call people, they're texting them. So that's a failure, like immediately. But then when they're reaching out to those people, even though we tell them not to, they are asking people to sit down and look at life insurance. 1,000%. Hey, I'm working with this old Primacare, man. I need you to sit down and look at the policy. Wrong. Right? Hey, listen, Bill, I'm working on some financial licensing. I got to get some training. And man, you're one of the first people I thought about when I sat down and started doing this. I would love to show you what this looks like. If it works for you, great. If you like it, great. And if not, I'll never bug you about it again, but you would at least know what we're doing. So you can shoot me some referrals down the road because you're going to know somebody that needs what we do. Right. So as far as us getting together, Bill, like when's better? Like today or tomorrow? Yes. Right. Tomorrow or Thursday. I guess tomorrow is Thursday. Tomorrow or Friday. Right. Weekdays or weekends. I don't care what you're asking, but it better be something that has a yes answer. And try to get it within the next 48 to 72 hours, because if you book something for like October 17th, they ain't coming. They ain't coming, right? So urgency in the right market with those right people. So when it comes to setting those appointments and like who the hell are we even going to talk to, we just call it a wedding list, right? Like, hey, Bill, like if we're going to get you married again, right? We're going to put you on, take my jet, we'll fly down, right? Jet only holds 20 though, right? So you're coming, because if you're not coming, like nobody's getting married, right? So we got to set that first appointment with you and your spouse. Let's run down this really quick. Like, who would your best man be, right? Who would your groomsmen be? And then do the same thing for the other spouse. Who's the maid of honor? Who's the bridesmaids, right? If they gave you 4 groomsmen, there better be 4 bridesmaids. We don't want no like mixed match wedding over here, right? And now, like, you got those people. Well, who's going to be in the front row of the church, right? Probably moms and dads, right? Maybe some siblings. But you get the, yeah, you do. You just don't know how to think about them yet, right? And that's my job to teach you that. Is that okay? Tie down, right? Guys, look, the tie downs don't just work on clients. They work on your people when it comes to like helping their mindset and getting them to say yes to you moving forward. Tie downs work on your wife and your husband. Tie downs work on your kid, right? Your kids are being little jerks. Like, don't yell at them. Right? Hey, listen, like you would agree that I asked you to clean your room yesterday. Yeah. Okay. And you would also agree that it's not clean right now. Am I right? Perfect. So should we be doing this right now, or should we be doing that? I'll wait. You're a better parent because of Primerica, because you're not yelling at your kids and you're rationally speaking to them and they're going, Dad's right. Self-improvement with a paycheck, guys. Right? Like, that's the business. And I swear to you, like, Primerica has made me a better husband. It's made me a better father because I am more calm. I ask way more questions. I don't tell people anything. I ask them the majority of the time. That's what you should be doing to people, because they tell me all the time, Bill, like, oh, no, I told them they needed life insurance. And I said, great. What'd you ask them? Did you ask them what their life would look like if the person that makes all of the money is no longer here tomorrow? Did you ask them that question? No, I just told them they needed life insurance. I said, great. If you're telling, you're selling.
Yeah.
Great. But if they tell me, it's the truth. Right? Anything I ask you and you tell me is at least true for that moment. You might be lying to me, but it's at least true because you said it. Right?
Where would you recommend they go to learn these sales principles, the tie downs and asking questions? Because that's a pivotal part of all this, isn't it? Because we get all the people, but we somehow don't get anything out of it. Talk about that.
Yeah. So the Tom Hopkins, right? Art of Selling, like that's the Bible, right? Like when it comes to questions-based sales approach. I don't recommend reading it. I recommend listening to it on like 1.8 speed, because that book is like this, but speed that thing up and get through it. But everything in there is a questions-based approach.
Tom Hopkins, The Art of Selling.
Mm-hmm. The one that we always recommend to people is the 4 color personalities, right? And that's where I got the red, yellow, blue, green. It says, color personalities for MLM. Who cares, right? the moral of the story is you have to speak to people in their language, right? If you've got someone that's like money motivated and super competitive, like, dude, you're gonna love this, right? Everything's a competition. Everything's a competition. You can track cash flow, you can compare yourself, right? But if somebody's a yellow and they're a helper, they're a school teacher, they're a nurse, like, man, you are gonna be able to help so many people in this business. It's gonna be amazing. Right? Somebody's green, they're like an engineer, they're like, they just want numbers. Like, dude, you would crush it on the security side. Like, you can dig into like as many things as you want. Like, you can have charts and spreadsheets flying around, and your desk can look crazy, right? I mean, and then if they're blue, right, dude, like, they're the social person, right? Like, man, did you know we have trips like twice a month that you can earn? Like, they'll fly you out for free. We meet 2 or 3 times a week. You've got people around you that just want to love on you and be in the business, right? You have to speak to people in their language, though, guys. Think about this. If you drop me in the middle of Japan, nobody speaks English, and I have the cure for cancer for free. Here it is, right? I'll give it to you. Cure for cancer. But I can't speak Japanese. Do you think they will take it? Mm-hmm. I might get lucky, right? There might be like one word, I might get lucky. But if I don't speak Japanese and I'm trying to give them the cure for cancer for free, they're probably not taking it. You have to be able to speak to somebody in their own language. Find that thing that motivates them, because everybody's different, right? You can't stop trying to make everybody you, right? It's like talking to your spouse. We all got those different love languages, right? Talk to them in their language, and you're going to get more back. I promise you. Yeah, but the art of selling is huge. Color personalities, big one. I mean, obviously, Think and Grow Rich, right? Like, that's just like the mindset side of things. If you've never read that, listen to that. Like, shame on you. Like, if you've been around long enough, you better have some Napoleon Hill in your life. Just from like the pure mindset and like manifestation side of things. Like, this is coming. Like, you have to speak it out loud. The Closer Survival Guide, right? Grant Cardone, great one, right? Great one. And
Closers.
Yep. So Grant goes through, I think, I don't even remember.
Like
Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, am I right? Look at my head. Am I right? And she goes, well, yeah. I said, perfect. Here's what I want you to do. Call him, tell him what you're doing. Ask him if he'd do you a favor. Do you think your dad's going to do you a favor? What do you think she said? Look at my head. This is how I talk to clients. Yes, right? And if I want to know answer, we do this, not so exaggerated, but you get the idea. And then, lo and behold, right, dad and mom come to the appointment. What kind of policy do you think dad had?
You will. I don't know.
No, cash value, even worse. Like, so, either way, right, bad. Dad was paying about $200 a month for $30,000 on him, $6,700 on the wife, and $0 on any of the grandkids. Primerica term, 20 years for both of them, $250,000 for both of them, and we covered all the grandkids on one rider, and it was the exact same price. The exact same price, right? I couldn't invest the rest, Bill, but do you think he cared? No, because I had taken him from like $37,000 in total coverage between him and his wife and turned it into $500,000 plus $25,000 on 4 grandkids. And she goes, oh my God, I had no idea. I said, I know. Aren't you glad we asked? And that we didn't just assume that he was all set? She goes, that's amazing. Look, she's not even in the business anymore, but her dad and her mom are still clients, right? And that's what it looks like, guys. Listen, you can't worry about someone sticking around. Your job is to show them exactly what it would look like. Try to make them a crusader. Get into their market as fast as possible. Go find that ace. Get through the deck. Get through the deck as fast as possible, right? Don't just sit there and pull a 4, be happy you got a 4, and try to make the 4 an ace. It ain't going to happen, right? Leopards don't change their spots. Well, a 4 ain't a spade. It's not going to happen. Take that 4, get into the 4's market, because there's an ace somewhere, right? Keep going. You guys have seen that little picture of like the pickaxe miner guy, right? He's just, and then the other, like, welcome to Primerica.
Tony, do you have any questions? We got about 7 minutes left. Tony?
No, and I think you've already answered it, but I want to make sure we're clear on this. Bring it back to social media. How has your approach changed from when you started to where you are now with your newest person and the people who've been around for a while?
The approach never changes, right? And we talked about this before we got everybody on, right? Guys, the fundamentals don't change. That's why they're called fundamentals. It doesn't change, right? The thing that changes is us. People change. We get jaded. We get tired. We get burnt out. You know why? Because it's freaking monotonous. It is. But it's only monotonous when you're not excited about it. Mm-hmm. When you're excited about it and you're on fire for the business and you're crushing it, there's nothing monotonous about this business at all when you're busy. But when you're sitting around staring at a blank calendar and you've got no activity, yeah, it gets a little monotonous. But listen, you're either a passenger or a driver. And in this business, you're the driver, period, right? Different analogy. Thermostat, right? You can crank up, or a thermometer, passive, you're just watching it. So which one are you for your business? Are you a thermostat and you're just like sitting back and kind of monitoring, or are you a thermostat and you go crank the damn heat up? What temperature does water boil at? 212, right? So if you're sitting around at 211, does the pot move? You're right there. You're right there, but you got to crank that. You got to crank that heat just a little bit, and then it boils, and then you're so busy you're hoping someone cancels on you. That's what it looks like. Wait, the most fun that we have in this business is when you're sitting around like double and triple booked on appointments, and you're like, God, I hope one of these knuckleheads cancels. But you know what? No, because that's how you feed your people, right? Because if I'm triple booked and I'm looking at 3 different appointments, I'm gonna go look and be like, well, I got Daryl, I got Jason, and I got Bill. Bill's a stud. Daryl and Jason, they could be, right? So I'm gonna give Daryl to somebody, I'm gonna give Jason to somebody, and I'm gonna talk to Bill, right? Because guess what happens? I couldn't talk to all 3 of them at the same time anyway. So if my people sit down and talk to Daryl and my people sit down and talk to Jason and they screw it up and they don't close them, great. They got a rep in, right? And they probably weren't going to move forward even if I had talked to them. So who cares, right? But that's what it looks like. You got to get so busy you can start feeding your people, right? There's producers and processors. Like some people need to be told what to do, right? They should have been an employee. They ended up here. Well, guess what? You have to you need to help them sort of move along. Now, don't go giving away production to people that don't deserve it, right? If you got somebody that's been sitting around 0 by 0 since Christ left Chicago, like that ain't the one, right? But if you got somebody that's like hungry and they're motivated and they're doing the things that you're asking them to do, maybe they've just got a tiny market. That's somebody that you can like work with, feed, right? Give them something to do. Those are your processors. But at the end of the day, guys, we have to be the producers in our business.
Tony, last question.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, you're doing great. I guess my last question is, how do you keep your people focused on being in the right market, eating the right kind of food? Because with social media and with mass recruiting, you can go down a rabbit hole of wrong market and end up broke and frustrated. How do you keep yourself and your people focused on them?
Yeah, you judge a book by its cover, right? You 100% judge a book by its cover. And this is where, like, as you're looking at people, right, it's on the social media side of things. If you're looking at their profile picture and it's a dude like he's smoking a J and he's got like the Edward 40 hands going on his profile, like that ain't the one. Move along, right? But if they got the nice family up, like you get the idea, right? Like if they look like they're in market, they're probably in market. And so like now, does that mean that dude doesn't get a shot? Because, well, I mean, I don't know, right? What did Art used to say? Never been a test, never will ever be a test that can tell you the heart of a man or woman for the business. Yeah, of course, right? So I've been pleasantly surprised sometimes. Right? General heuristics will tell you that those people aren't the ones, though. And so, like, that's one. If it gets on your calendar, give it to somebody that ain't got nothing to do. Let them.
One last thing. What motivates you? What drives you? What causes you to get up in the morning? What is it about you that this opportunity matches?
The ability to bet on myself, right? The ability to know that I can turn on, like I run into the right person and I run the right trade. I make 800 grand, right? There's nothing else out there that provides that. There's nothing else out there. And I think a big part of it, Bill, was spending, 24-ish years in the military, knowing that, like, in hindsight, now looking back, like, if I get up and go to work and work for 20 hours, or if I'm on leave for 2 weeks straight, I get paid the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
The guy next to me sucks at his job, but we're the same rank in the same years, and he's getting the same money that I am for, like, running circles around him. But that never was apparent to me until I came to the business and I started getting paid for the value that I brought to the organization. And that's when everything shifted for me. And I'm like, man, I've been getting underpaid for a long time, right? The value that I've brought for 20 plus years was never compensated financially correctly.
Also nice to know that you're not going to get into a helicopter and have anything bad happen.
Yeah. Like seeing that happen. I mean, that was the first fatal accident we've had in almost 8 years from my old unit. So, I mean, it doesn't happen often, but anytime it happens, it's too soon.
Yeah, it looks like it's fun up there being a pilot, but it's dangerous, isn't it? I mean, every casual flight.
Yeah, I mean, and they, like, guys, like, this was not like something in Afghanistan. This was like in the training area, like close by. It was not far from, from post, and it's just, it's crazy. And come back from like 15 deployments, and plenty of times I should have died, and then these guys are just at training. Like, it's crazy.
One last thing I got to ask you.
Yeah.
Growing up, we had this thing called it's a weekly show about West Point.
We were one of the biggest classes. I mean, this was 20 years ago, right? Of that era. We started with almost 1,300. We graduated 867, I think.
So that's 500. 500 did not.
That's a lot of attrition, right? It's generally not as big anymore. They'll usually start with 1,200, graduate 950 or 1,000 somewhere. That's average. But you got to remember, right? Like, while I was at West Point, Iraq happened. We were already at war in Afghanistan. Then the surge happened in terms of, like, going back into Iraq with more. That was around 2005. And so, like,
and there's nobody that's been more screened to get into West Point than the plebes. I mean, everyone's been screened, but they still don't know if you stay, you'll be a champion, right?
There it is, right? There it is. And that's those who stay will be champions. And that's what's on my, I mean, Melissa gave me that sign last night. So it's like average numbers, applicants every year to each service academy is about 15,000. And out of those 15,000, they take about 10%. It's actually a little less, right? And then out of those 10%, those are just the ones that show up on our day. Like, within the first 6 weeks of cadet basic training, you're going to lose probably 50 to 100 easily. So to go from 15,000 to make it in to then quit in your first 6 weeks, man, crazy.
Well, thank you very much, Noah. This has been spectacular. It's a breath of fresh air. I love it. You bring so much to the table. It's in the Bobby Buissons and all the great leaders. We just had Ronnie Barnes retire at age 87. Sold his business, but making $3.5 million a year, and has never made a sale after 6 months in the business, a personal sale.
That's crazy. That's the power of the business, guys. Right? I mean, I think back to Hector. Hector was in Hawaii at the trip. I think it was his first trip back after his wife had passed. And I mean, Hector spent 20 years at his wife's side while she dealt with her health issues, making millions of dollars a year, not doing a thing. That's what it's all about.
Well, right. Thank you very much, Noah. This has been wonderful. I'll call you in a second if I want to talk to you. All right, everyone.
Oh, for sure.
Thank you so much, Tony. We'll see everyone else next week, God willing. All right, bye-bye.
Bye, guys.